First of all, the hilarity of the fact that they passed up going to the Rose Bowl to host game day is perfectly fitting. It's apparently a full crowd. And Sean, I didn't know if you knew this or not, but they stated that it's a full, a sold out crowd. I didn't know this, that they block off like 20,000 of the seats with tarps. Did you know that they do this, that they don't take the full capacity for UCLA games? So they're not actually sold out.
Yeah, a lot of baseball stadiums do this, where it's just the top rows. They'll just tarp it on up, and then you're like, "Oh, well, look at this. We just won't show the top level." The Skins here Commanders here in DC, they're big time on that. Where we're just gonna show everybody in the lower bowl, and they're all having a good time, chopping it up, eating a half smoke. But you look up into this top stands, it's all tarped off. You're like, "Oh, well." Those are seats that aren't being used. So it does not surprise me that a California football stadium is doing this. It doesn't surprise me in the least. And it's
But
embarrassing.
UCLA of all school too is doing it. The one that has had trouble filling its stadium, that apparently again has a massive student section and a sold out crowd.
Yeah, California's embarrassing. California football is embarrassing from the everywhere except for those San Francisco. San Francisco fans travel. That's it. San Francisco fans go to the 49ers, rather, go to the games. And other than that, embarrassing up and down. Stanford, when they're good, I guess teams show up or fans show up. But when's the last time Stanford's been good and competitive and really been
Decade
in it?
ago.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe with one of the McCaffrey teams.
Right.
Maybe that first Bryce Love team.
I don't even remember how good that Bryce Love team was, but that might have been the most recent time. But the other thing I want to just throw in there, I will shit on, but I actually kind of root for UCLA. I will shit on USC any opportunity that I have. They have one of the worst stadiums for like a major brand in college football. Like that stadium stinks. The Coliseum stinks. It felt like when we were going into that Harvard stadium when we played at Harvard, just like a slightly better version of that. It's outdated. It's a dump. You're supposed to be a big national brand. Why don't you have a better stadium? There's just all these hacks that I hear. And one person in my office is like, "Oh, I have heard," who had never even been to the Coliseum. "Oh, I've heard only nothing but positive things about the Coliseum." These are the fucking losers that are like, it's a historic stadium. It's just a great environment. It's not. It sucks. It's 2020. If it was built as long ago as it was, it's outdated.
Okay, I'm not going to jump on you for your bias, because I think that for the longest time I've held a lot of contempt for the stadium in New Orleans, the Superdome. I didn't like that both Atlanta and the Superdome both shared Mercedes, so I'm glad that they're now the Little Caesars Superdome. So I understand.
I didn't know that.
I understand the disliking of a rival's stadium. So I'm not gonna be a hypocrite here and knock you, even though it's a very thinly veiled rationale that you've just provided us.
Yeah, I don't really care, and everyone can eat it.
Eat it.
This game specifically, yeah, whatever you want. You can my ass, whatever you want to eat.
Oh, Jesus.
This game, getting into the weeds of it, I think if UCLA had not lost to Arizona, I would sit here and I'd be staking my claim in why UCLA is going to win this football game. And I saw some guy in the LA Times, I forget who, I think it was Plaschke, who wrote an article providing his argument for why UCLA was going to win this week. I can't sit here and make that argument after seeing the results that they put on the field against Arizona.
Yeah.
One of the worst teams in the Pac-12. And that to me is the main takeaway here. As important as this rivalry is, as apparently as heated as it is when these teams are both really, really good, I can't put my chips in on a team that is coming off of a hangover loss because you were looking too far ahead at the next team. USC is going to win this game. As much as I hate them, as much as I detest them, they're in the much better positioning. They have the momentum. It is hard to turn around after a bad loss, and you and I know that perfectly from a number of them that we suffered in college, especially that one winning year that we had that we should have made the playoffs. Bad losses will completely derail your season.
Yeah, they will. And this USC team, here's the thing. Somehow USC's biggest rival is just going to help them make the playoff if they win out. Somehow Notre Dame being ranked and keep it going. Let's keep the trend moving. Move them up to 14 maybe next week. Who cares?
But
And then
Sean,
we'll,
the only thing, I don't mean to cut you off.
uh-huh.
You're being way too confident about Notre Dame beating Boston College this weekend, which I don't have any faith that they're going to.
You're a liar. You're doing the bit.
No, they've done this. They do this every goddamn year. They suddenly it doesn't matter what their record was at the beginning of the year.
Put your glasses back on. Why
Boston
are you yelling at me like my dad?
has notoriously been the one team that has fucked so many things up for Notre Dame. So that's all I have to say. But continue.
Okay, but here's the thing. USC is going to be playing very inspired football here because they're on the bubble of making it. They truly are. And they know that if they beat UCLA, then they can if they are looking at this schedule, they know they can win. And no matter what UCLA ranked, it doesn't matter because Notre Dame just dropped to two very, very bad teams, right? But now we're saying we can help ourselves. We can get help. And then we could stomp out Notre Dame. And then maybe our resume is better. We can get some more help. We can get some more teams coming through here. A couple SEC, maybe an SEC team takes a shocker trap loss. Maybe TCU gets their first loss. They won't make it with one loss. They just won't. So this USC team, I think, is going to roll versus UCLA. I don't think is there a home field advantage in either of these? No, it doesn't. Is it?
So the one thing that I was just quickly looking up while you were sharing a really good argument here. First of all, again, you made the really good point is that USC has something that they're playing for. Like this is very important, and they're going to be very inspired. And as much as people will love to use the argument, oh, UCLA wants to play spoiler to their rival, but I don't think you're discounting the importance of this game and their possibility of making the playoff. But the one thing I was thinking about in my head while you were saying that is how this isn't like when Alabama traveled to play LSU or when Alabama traveled to play Tennessee, where the home field very clearly took over the game. The crowd took over the game.
Yes.
You know the irony of this game and it being played in the Rose Bowl? USC is closer by 10 minutes to the Rose Bowl than UCLA is because Westwood's all the way by the water. And I wanted to double check before I made that statement. You got to come all the way from Westwood compared to downtown Los Angeles to just go straight up to Pasadena. That's the hilarity of it. And there's a reason why no one talks about or ever.
Yeah, you got to take the 405 and then you got to you got to merge and do all that stuff.
It might be the 10. I've made that trip before, but roads.
Yeah. Stay tuned. We're going to start talking about cables soon.
Should that just be our argument for any game? Is whoever has the best sounding highway that they have to get on to travel is the advantage?
Here's the problem: is that California, they say the before the road, and this is not like a new thing that I've just discovered or listeners have discovered, but that might be unique enough to give them an edge just because no one else does that.
Yeah, but they're playing each other.
I know. But I'm saying in general for rating roads and highway systems and how they're named, like some people be annoyed by that, but I'm like, you kind of got your own thing. Like New York is saying standing online instead of in line. I'm in line, I'm online. It's a little bit of a bit. I still prefer the 95s out here east. I like 495 sounds great. 395, 295, I-95, Route 1 South, all that stuff is pretty great.
Like you know a lot of roads. This guy knows a lot of roads.
I know a lot of roads. I'll go up 66 East and not the big Route 66, but you know.
The only reason why the only reason why it's called is because you waste so much time on the goddamn thing, but that's a separate issue. My main point here, there's no home field advantage. It's probably going to be a split crowd. There might even be more USC people in the crowd of this game because a lot of USC people that get high-end jobs in Los Angeles live in Pasadena. They live in the Valley, and they can probably commute and get to this game easier than any student can from UCLA.
I'm liking this this California talk, this insight that I'm getting from my California expert right now.
Yeah, I'm not an expert. Some jackass is going to just come in the comments and be like, well, actually, but
there's a marathon going on that day, so USC is going to have to take a different route, and then they're going to get there at the same time. Yeah, I'm sure. whatever, USC, playing for something. And if you're playing for something in college, then you can inspire some 22-year-olds to go out there and play a little bit harder.
Right. And if we're actually talking about what's happening on the field here, I understand that USC has a bit of a suspect secondary, which I've talked about before. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson has been one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And Charbonnet has produced just so many good games on the ground. And I
Yeah.
think you need DTR to step up. Like, you almost, in a way, need to outduel Caleb Williams. If the production that they allowed to Arizona's quarterback, and I'm blanking on his name, if Caleb Williams gets that hot that early as Arizona's offense did and their quarterback did, they're done. Game's over.
Yeah, Jaden DeLora, the Arizona
That's who it is.
Yeah,
Such a nothing name.
He went for 380 and 3 touchdowns versus USC.
They got dogged by the most nobody quarterback in college football.